Hello and welcome to my craft channel. I'm Corrine and this is Corrine Crafts. I hope you are all well and I hope you've been having some fun in your craft room, craft area or wherever you like to craft. Today is a really simple card. We're going to be making this card. Isn't that so pretty? Do you know what? Sometimes less is more. I'm not very good at doing less is more. I've had a go today. I've done some light embossing around my frame. I'm going to show you how to make this frame. But it's all about this background and we're just going to be using pieces of craft card, trying to find it, pieces of craft card that I've cut circles out of to be able to make our own backgrounds. And then you can use any stamps, any sentiments, however you want. Put a couple of dewdrops on there just to give it a lift. I love this. It's really simple, a little bit different. Yeah, I really like this. I hope you'll join me and we'll have a look now at how to make it. Okay, so shall we have a look at how to make this card? The first thing I have done is I have taken a piece of watercolour card and I have just put some low tack masking tape on here. So I've just popped that on here. You see low tack masking tape, and I've created an area that's 4¼ inches wide by 5¼ inches tall. So it doesn't really matter how big the piece of card is. I just knew I wanted 4¼ by 5¼ so you can put pen marks on, you can do whatever you want, and I've just stuck that onto a piece of card just to give it a bit of support. So that's my watercolour card that I'm going to use. So I wanted to do some stencils and I've used these in a previous project that I did, and these are just some pieces of craft card that I have cut, use my circle die to cut into. And that's all it is. And I love using these to help me create backgrounds. Sorry, I lifted them up a bit high there. So they're just different sizes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my first one and I'm going to pop it over. I'm going to go that way, only because if I go that way and I slip, I'm going to put ink on there. If I go that way, if I slip, it goes on my glass mat. And I'm going to add some ink. So I'm going to do, you can see my sort of colours, except that's going to be pink, but I don't have a pink brush. So I'm going to go in with my water reactive green topaz first. So I'm going to use water reactive, and there's a reason for using water reactive is because I want to perhaps do a few effects. And I'm going to pick up some of the green. Oh, I've just picked up quick dry. That wasn't what I wanted. I wanted that one. Let's just clean that off. Oh, that was silly. I didn't want that one. I wanted the water reactive quick dry. I was using that for something else. So let's just make sure my brush is cleanish. There we go. You might as well see this warts and all. Right, okay, let's try again. Pick up the water reactive green topaz. I've lifted this up so it's above there, but it's coming off the edge. And I'm just going to blend that round here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus... Oops, I moved that. Focus on the edge. Now, I've not even put any adhesive behind here. Because it's craft card, it will hold in place. If I just put my hand on there. So I'm just blending it on this corner and just letting that almost be residual ink. So just focusing on this edge, and my brush will just put a little bit of colour just there. I can see that's not gone quite to the edge. I just want to make sure I've got colour up to that line. So just keep focusing on that edge. Let's pick up a little bit more. And then just blend it to here. So just let a little bit of ink, but we can put that on there. And so when I lift that up, oh yes, that's perfect. As you can see, it's darker there and paler. That's just the effect I wanted. Then I'm going to get another one. I'm going to stick for a minute with this one, and I'm going to just go over a little bit. So I'm going to overlap them very slightly, and I'm going to go in with my pink next. Pink tulip is the palest of the pink inks I've got, and I'm going to do exactly the same. I'm definitely working with water reactive this time. This is because I'm planning 2 projects at the same time. I often plan a couple and film them both at the same time, and that's what I've done tonight, and consequently I picked up the wrong ink pad, but never mind. Right, so let's just ink through there, and again concentrating on the top of the arc. That's where I want it to be darkest, and then it'll just residually, and I'm just being careful not to go over there after saying that before. Things keep moving. Why do things keep moving? Oh, it's moving underneath. So just let a little bit of ink, but I want the darkest of the ink to be at the top. There we go. And you can see like that. Then I'm going to grab a different size. Let's go with this one. And well, then I can overlap them again just there. pick up some more pink. So you can see now I'm going to have some square edges. There we go. Let me show you, make sure you can see it. So I'm going to concentrate down this edge. And again, I'm using my Time for Tea brushes because I find I get the best sort of non-cloudy effect with these. I am going over and creating sort of that Venn diagram effect, so you go over one onto the other. So we'll be creating tones or different shades where they overlap. That's absolutely fine. So we can take that one away. You can see how beautiful this is looking. Then I want yellow. I'm going to do yellow with that one as well. I'm going to put yellow in the middle. And again, you can put these wherever you want. Now, I don't want that to I want that to sort of overlap those, but I don't want it to overlap that pink one. Just because that's the way I like it to lie out. But you can do however you want. So I'm going around the edges. So I've got more edges. You can pick a side if you want, that you want to go darker, or an edge. But you can see I'm just going round the outside like that. Let's just pick an edge to go a little bit darker. Just make that side a little bit darker than the other, a little bit over the middle. That will actually be a little bit, it's just not as dark as the other bits. And then there we go. I can lift that. Looking pretty, isn't it, so far? It's amazing how you can create your own backgrounds. And I think I'm going to do one more green, because I'm actually going to make a yellow frame. So I've got 2 pink, 2 green, and I'll have 2 yellow elements when I've finished. So let's go. I am going to stick, I think, with the same sizes. Or do I want a different size? Could I go? I might just go with the smaller one. And I'm just going to do it like about there. So let's get the green. I nearly got the quick dry again because it's still at the side of me. That one. Let's bring it down here. And you'll see when this is all finished, there is no right. I'm going to come up a little bit, drop it down there. There we go. No right and no wrong. So I'm going to come round the edge. So straight away we're creating a different shade there. I just tap off the excess, and then I'm going to just focus down that edge, and it'll be a little bit darker there. But I'm going right up to the tape, because the tape is going to give me a white blend, a white border, sorry, when I've finished. There we go. Now, if you feel like when you take them off they're a bit dark, we're actually going to spritz it with a little bit of water in a minute, and that will actually change the colour as well. So there we go. So those are my background. Just as random as you want. You can put more on, you can put different shapes. I just like the look of making my own stencils and putting my own designs on. So I've got my water spray, and I'm just going to lightly mist over that. You can see, you can see that reacting straight away. Oh, and I've got my heat gun. So I'm just going to stop that from spreading. So it's just giving it a little bit of a faux bleach. Let's just, I find that I'm just going to get the water off that there. If it takes too much off, you can always put a little bit more on, but I wanted that speckled effect. So I'm just going to dry a bit. I'll come back in a minute. There we go. So that's looking perfect. I'm loving that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take it to my stamping platform. There we go. Still got my tatty card underneath, but that's fine. I'm going to pop it in my stamping platform, and I can then pick up these magnets. Are so good. Pop that on there. Remember, if it starts to bend and cockle, you can always put it back through your die cutting machine with your rubber embossing mat to flatten it. So I have got a Stamps by Me stamp. It's the one I think it was just called something like Smile, and I like this little foliage. So I'm going to pop that on there, and I'm going to lift it up a bit, but I'm going to actually run it over just over the edge of that masking tape. Pick that up. Now, I didn't know what colour I wanted, but I knew I couldn't find the colour I wanted. So what I've got is I've got my Plum Jam and I've got my Midnight. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go in with Midnight and do one coat with Midnight. I'm not going to go overly hard. Go with my Midnight and put that on. Now these are quick dry inks, and that's why I had to make sure it was nice and dry before. So put that one on. Then I'm going to go with my Plum Jam, and I'm just going to go over the top with Plum Jam. I don't know what effect it. I'm hoping it's going to sort of give me a bit more of a purple, but the right sort of purple. Sort of, you can see straight away when you look, it doesn't look blue anymore. It's got like a purple. It's still a bit blue, isn't it? But not, it's not got that harsh to it. I'm going to do one more layer. I know these are quick drying. It's given me perfect cover, but I'm just trying to just pick up a little bit more of the red. Oops, throwing that around. There we go. Oh, I like that. Okay, that looks lovely. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take that one off, put that back on here. Oops, on there. Then I'm going to take another Stamps by Me one. And I think I've used this stamp in another bit, but I'm going to take Happy Hugs. And I'm going to position Happy Hugs wherever it looks like it'll fit. I'm going to do it just there. That fits nicely, doesn't it? And it almost feels like that flower is trying to grow into that gap. That's just how I see it. So I'm going to do exactly the same colourway. So one coat of the blue, just a little bit. It's just giving me a slightly different colour by doing it that way. One coat of the blue. Oh, didn't have any ink down in that bottom corner. Let me just put a tiny little bit of ink down in that bottom corner. There we go. Oh, and I've just put my finger in my quick dry ink pad. Quick dry ink pads dry quick on your cardstock, but they stain and stay on your hands for the longest time. Right, that's better. So let's get the plum jam and go over, because we're just going to change that colour very slightly over there. And we'll do one more. Yep, it's just taking that harshness off the blue. Be so careful with quick dry ink pads, because if you get it on your hands, then when you touch your cardstock, that's nice. Now, can you just see the difference? So it's not blue anymore, but it's not purple, and it's not black, but it's just got that lovely hint of colour to it. So I'm going to take this, take it off that. That was just to work on, and then I'm just going to peel this. Now, I've explained this before. If you peel at an angle, I'm not guaranteeing it's going to work. At an angle like that, it's less likely to catch your card. Don't know why. I think it's just the angle it's taking off your, the fibres, because you're going at a diagonal, aren't you, rather than straight across. So let's go around that way next. Nice angle at that. I haven't overly pressed on this foam, on this masking tape, and then I can turn it round. You see, it's just caught there, but that's okay, because I know where my frame's going, and I know that will be hidden. I know that will be totally hidden, so I'm not going to panic over that. Now, just to say, quick dry inks run if you spritz them with water. That was why I tried to make it lovely and dry before I did the stamping, the top bit. How about that? Now, I know that's not central because we've got a bigger border, but don't worry, this is going to be hidden. But how pretty does that look? This is just something a little bit different, just trying to do a little bit of shading myself. Okay, so the next thing I've got a piece of white card. I'm just going to put that to one side to dry. And what I've done is I've cut that to 6 1/4 by 7 1/4, and I want an aperture of 4 3/4 by 5 3/4. Can you remember this was 4 1/4 by 5 1/4? So I now want my aperture half an inch bigger. So half an inch bigger. So 4 3/4 across there from a 6 1/4 piece is 1 1/2 inches. So if I have a 3/4 inch on both sides, then it'll be perfect. I hope that makes sense. I'll move that out of the way. So just explain that again. This is 6 1/4 wide by 7 1/4, and I want that to be a 4 3/4 inch aperture. 4 3/4 away from 6 1/4 gives me 1 1/2. So 2 times 3/4 gives me my 1 1/2 in total. I understand that. I hope you do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my paper trimmer and I'm going to go to 3/4 of an inch. So if you see from the cutting blade, I've got my 3/4 inch line just there. So I'm going to take it up to the 3/4 inch mark there. And the great thing is it's down here as well. So you can line it top and bottom and know that your paper's in there straight. Now, this is 7 1/4 wide. So if I go to 6 1/2, that's 3/4 from the bottom. And then I'm going to go up to 3/4 of an inch at the top. So this is how you can gut your cards as well if you're doing mats and layers. So I'm going to turn it to 3/4 inch again and make sure I'm at 3/4 inch at the bottom. This one's easy to line up because I can line that line with there. And then I'm going to come down to 5.5, which is 3/4 inch from the bottom. There we go, 5.5, and that's 3/4 inch left there. Turn it round, 3/4 inch. Now, if you're familiar with this, I'm so sorry I'm going slow, but I just wanted to show people how to create apertures. So I'm going to line it up with there again, which is 3/4 from the top, and I'm going to come down to 3/4 from the bottom. So once you've decided on the size of your frame, you're just working in the same all the way around. And I'm going to mark that at 3/4 from there. Line it up on that one. I hope this is doing, because I can't put my head over because of the camera, but hopefully you'll see. And to there. Right, I've just gone slightly over, but I'm going to do something in a minute that's going to hide that really well. So that will now pop out. If you've missed any bits, if you're not quite caught, you can always go with a pair of scissors. If you've just not quite gone all the way. It's almost like little pips, isn't it, to hold it in. There you go. But I think that one is so close that if I go like that, it's, oops, it's just caught a piece of card behind. Let me just cut that. There we go. That one. There we go. And that one. There we go. Right, I've now got my original card, 6 1/4 by 7 1/4, with a 4 3/4 by 5 3/4 aperture. So that's going to be perfect. So if I bring my frame back in, that's going to sit over there. And what I've also got is I've got the perfect border. Now I'm going to do that again on another piece, and I'll show you in a minute. But first, I looked at that and I thought, oh, that's quite nice. But what I could make that a little bit better by embossing it. So I've found an 8-inch embossing folder, any that you've got. And I'm going to put that in there. But this is a really, really good embossing folder, and I don't want it to emboss that well. So what I'm going to do is, it's a 2D embossing folder, so I should have my 2 cutting plates, but that will give me too good an emboss, and I don't want a good emboss. I want it to be there, but I don't want it to be as strong. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on my plate, and then I'm going to add my magnetic shim and my plastic shim as if it was a 3D embossing folder, but I'm just going to add in 1 piece of 300 GSM card. Let's run that through my die cutting machine. I want to show you this as I open it out, just so that you can see. So I have embossed it with an extra piece of card as if it was a 3D embossing folder instead of a 2D. And look at that. What it's given me is it's given me it's not missed any bits, but my emboss is a little bit lighter. It's not as deep as if it was if I'd done it normally, and that's because I don't want it as deep. So I've got this piece that I can use for something else, another project, and I've done exactly the same with a piece of yellow. So my yellow started at 6 1/2 by 7 1/2, so it's 1/4 inch wider. But what I've cut my aperture down is 4 1/2 by 5 1/2. So I actually cut, instead of doing 3/4 inch, I did it at 1 inch. So all those measurements, I just did 1 inch, and that now fits perfectly one on top of the other, doesn't it? Can you see? Really, really easy. So what I need to do, because this isn't centered, that's the right word. Don't know what centraled is. I'm going to take this frame before I put it onto my card base. We're nearly there with the card. It's very nearly done. So I'm going to take my frame. I'm going to get some wet glue. I'm going to get some wet glue all over. There we go, just like that. And then I'm going to centre the frame over the image, just because I didn't put it in the middle of my card. So we can do, and the reason for the glue is so that if I touch it and it's not centred, can you see it's letting me move it around. Let me make sure that's on there. And it's straight. But I've got that white border. Now, if you don't like that white border, you just you either make your working area a bit bigger, or you make your aperture a little bit smaller. So there we go. And how about like that? And that all I need to do then is take my card base, which I made from an A3 piece of card. I better do it that way around, which is just under 8 inches by 7 inches. Bear with me. I've got glue on here where the frame overlapped. So I'm going to have to do my card base that way around because I've got glue on that side. So let's come round here. You can see I hadn't worked centrally, but it didn't matter. So I can put glue all over the back there. It can even go on that foam tape all over there. And then that will now sit central in my card. Isn't this a quick card to make? But how pretty is this? Something a little bit different. Now, oops. If you put glue on, Corrine, you need to remember to make sure you press it down. There we go. I thought that would be it. Oh, no, that's not it, even slightly straight. There we go. What have I got on there? A little bit of blue. Let's make sure that is straight. No, we're still not straight. We are still not straight. I will get there. It's not that I'm not getting it straight. I'm not getting it even centred. There. Right. Press. That's better. That was where I was going to stop, but then I realised it needed a little bit more. So I had a look at some gems. I had some blue ones, I had some yellow ones, and I had some like dewdrop ones. So I'm just going to put a couple of dewdrops. I'm looking at that thinking, what do I want? I just want a couple. Yes, dewdrops work. And I'm going to try and do random. How hard is, I say, every time I do this, I say, how hard is random? 1, 2, 3. Let's go. There. I'm not doing any more than that. I'm going to stop. How about like that? I think that's so pretty. But it's all about creating your own stencils to create your own backgrounds. Now, if you wanted to, you could be colouring these in. I've done it with quick dry ink, so you're going to have to be careful what you use. I'm trying to think. I'd probably go in with something like my pencils so that it didn't smudge. It's dye-based ink, so I probably wouldn't want to. You might be able to do it with your yeah, you could probably do it with your alcohol pens, actually. You probably could, because that's dye-based and they're alcohol-based, so you probably could. But have a trial and error. If you wanted to, I might have a go later at doing a little bit of colouring on there. That might look nice. I'll take some photographs of it, and then we'll have a look. And I might have a go at doing some colouring once the photos are done. If it works, I'll show you. So, thanks for watching my channel. I hope you get a little bit of inspiration. It's a really simple card, but I wanted just to show you. I loved the background, and it was the background I did first, and then I just wanted to finish it off because I thought it was really pretty. Really simple, little bit of embossing to add a little bit of texture. Showed you how to make the apertures. If you like it, please don't forget to subscribe, and I will put some links down on the bottom. I've also added a new link to an app called Buy Me a Coffee, which is just a little bit of something for my subscribers to help me keep this channel running if you are enjoying it. So thank you very, very much. I will be back again at my next video, or very, very soon. It's going to be my next monthly challenge. So thanks for watching. Please come back, and I hope you enjoy this video, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Happy crafting!